All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is Harwan Ban Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. Before I begin, I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakar Kodash, Ma'amaf. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to Yakim and Agwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. All right. The time is 2:13 a.m. June 27th, 2026 AD. The topic of this lesson is going to be titled Resist the Devil and He Will Flee. All right, and He will flee. Now, this is coming from James chapter 4. Um, you know, I made this quick little mock up picture of an Israelite in the midst of a bunch of heathens and two-third Jakes. All right. In this world, it cause you to people's actions, their threats towards you, their attacks, persecution, right? Taunting, blame, etc., etc. These can cause different emotions to be conjured up within you. All right, like lust, doubt, envy, hatred, anger. All these things will lead you to destruction. All right. So we have to resist the deceiver and he will flee, meaning he have no power over us. But how do you resist if you have no power within you or covering of resistance? All right. And that's why he said, what? Yasha Allah. He is he who wrestles with God, or he is a power or a prince with the power. Meaning the Lord showed us that as Israel wrestles with the Lord, because that's what we're doing. If you understand it spiritually, but we were humbled in the same way Jacob, a hip was knocked out of joint, and he was humbled, and he was forced to call on the Lord and beg for a blessing, and that's where we're at today. We've been humbled. We've been wounded. The Lord said, I wound and I heal. We've been put into a position of weakness so the Lord can show us strength. All right. Making us what? Mature in the spirit. Calling out to the Father for help. Trusting Him instead of trusting our own carnal way or carnal strength. So the resistance starts there. Turning back to our Father, clinging to Him, the way Jacob clinged to the angel. That's what it means by wrestling. All right. Resist the devil and he will flee from you, man. He's gonna be powerless over you. You know, a lot of these situations in this Matrix. That's why you gotta watch that movie, The Matrix, with Neo. That's why they said Neo in that movie, The Matrix, was supposed to be casted as Will Smith first, because they know it's about Jake. It's about us. We the ones that have to fight and stand up against the wiles of the devil in this Matrix. You may go to a community or a business area that you're teaching, and you're setting up um, a lighthouse. You become a spectacle to man, to the angels, to the people that claim to be in the truth. We have made a spectacle to the world. And when the attacks happen, or the affliction, or the persecution, we have to have some type of resistance against that, or we see others being treated unjustly. You know, or we see wickedness. We're the ones that's most likely going to speak out against it. Um, I call it a revealing spirit, meaning when you walk in the room, people act in a certain way, but when you walk in the room, they begin to expose themselves of being um, used by the devil. They be like, everything was different until you showed up. It was bad around here till you showed up. This person was treating us any kind of way until you showed up. Or you start to realize, like, damn, why all these attacks on me? It's because you're chosen. When the Lord said, "Touch not mine anointed," and we're gonna be tried 7 times over, meaning completely. The next thing you know, you might be at a certain job, and if you pass that test, meaning calling on the Lord, moving in His Spirit, outside of your own emotions, all right, trusting His way instead of your own way. You might be in a situation with a woman or your household or whatever. And the next thing you know, that whole situation, that page will just turn once you finally get it to call on the Lord and to show up. You know. Um. So now, matter of fact, let's get that because there you go. Psalm 7 and 10. My defense is of the Most High, which saveth the upright in heart. All right. So we're here. Uh, we're here what to defend um, the Lord's that righteous spirit. All right. Defend righteousness, to exude righteousness, to display righteousness, and the Lord will defend us in return. Psalms 94:22. But the Lord is my defense, and my power is the rock of my refuge. All right. So with that in mind, we don't want to walk naked, uncovered, in the midst of a battle. This is James 4:5. Do ye think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? All right. The spirit that's within you is righteous, but it can be deceived by the flesh if it's not guided. All right. So it lusteth to envy. But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, Yahweh resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Okay, so he gives grace to those that are humbled, contrite, a contrite heart, like the same spirit that he gave to Jacob. He humbled him by knocking the hollow of his hip out of place. That was also spiritual of how the Lord humbled us as a nation. Submit yourselves, therefore, to the Most High, and that's the first point to resisting the devil is to submit ourselves to the Most High, meaning our ways, our time, our actions, our responses to persecution, moving in the spirit of the Lord, spirit over the flesh, and through that we'll gain power to resist the devil. All right, he'll be powerless over you. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So you won't become that emotion of anger. The Lord said, "Ye are gods." All these different attributes we should have bearing fruit, but we get caught up in lust, then you become that. You get caught up in wrath and anger, and you become just that, just an angry ass individual. People look to conjure up these different bad attributes that you have left in the past, but the flesh is still with us. So you'll be tested to see if it's still there. We're moving towards perfection. All right, somebody try you, you're gonna just spaz out in anger and wrath, or are you gonna trust the Lord and let Him change the situation, remove you from that situation, remove them from you? All right, submit yourselves therefore to the Most High, man, and we can't lose that way. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. All right, so resist all these feelings of rage and jealousy, lust, adultery, um, physical lust, certain desires, or you know, doubt. Right, I'm gonna handle this myself. Well, you trust the Lord and let Him lead you to what you should do. Search His Word. That's submitting ourselves to Yahweh. Resist the devil means throughout your daily life, resisting the devil, resisting the flesh, and he will flee from you. All right, so that's twofold. When you walk in the room, they're gonna flee. When you out there teaching, the wicked flee when no man pursueth. Within yourself, the devil will flee. All right, because the spirit will dwell there. Draw nigh to the Most High, and He will draw nigh to you. That's what He was telling Jacob. He's a prince as long as we're in the presence of the Lord. So draw nigh to the Most High. That's how we resist the devil, and He will draw nigh unto you. We'll have power. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, and your joy to heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He shall lift you up. See, so when this world begins to come against us, prior to it and within those moments, we should call on the Lord and submit to Him. All right. Samson would have lost that fight against the lions and the Philistines if the Lord wasn't with him. Daniel would have got eaten by those lions if the Lord didn't shut the mouth of the lions. And he was praying. Daniel was known for praying to the Lord 3 times a day. And throughout the scripture, you'll see Daniel asking questions to the Lord. Please help me understand this vision, et cetera, et cetera. So they knew to humble themselves in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord will lift us up, man. All right. So let me go here real quick. First Peter's 5 and 6. First Peter's 5 and 6. It says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that He may exalt you in due time." So, in the midst of all your troubles, continue to just humble yourself and turn to the Lord. Set your time up to match His time. Sacrifice those moments um, to serve the Lord. You know, make time to serve the Lord. All right. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that He may exalt you in due time, man. You know, let's get in order with the camps. Um, and then the Lord is going to exalt us. Humble yourself at work. Go there to learn. You know, they treat you wrongly. You take all the legal steps to fix the situation, but the best step you take is to turn to the Lord and pray for the Lord to remove that job from you, to have you show up every day and give you a spirit that's unbreakable. So when that moment is past, you'll be left with an unbreakable spirit. This is the result. All right. This is what? Cast all your care upon Him, for He careth for you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist. Whoa, see that? So we gotta resist the devil, right? That's seeking who he can devour and put in bondage under sin and doubt and pride. You know, pride is thinking we can handle everything ourselves like Adam did. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, man. All right. Knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. See, this is what's growing the spirit and diminishing the flesh. The part of diminishing our flesh is diminishing the ego that we were raised up with. All right, so resist the devil steadfastly in the faith, though. So you got to be in the faith and hope of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. So this is how you resist the devil and cause it to flee. Is to be steadfast in the faith. All right, in the midst of affliction. So let me get this. This is James 1:20. James 1:20. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh. All right. So wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. All right. So we don't want to deceive our own selves. We don't want to. This is where was it at? Receive. We got to receive the engrafted word with meekness. All right. So it takes humbleness and meekness to read and study instead of walking around thinking your own thoughts, being led by your own understanding. I'm gonna get them back. Watch, you'll see. That was a carnal thought. Sitting there arguing tit for tat, going word for word with a Jake, male or female, or with a heathen, just arguing carnally, you know, instead of using the spirit against them. Way different. Moving with the force cause you to cause you to treat people not as problems, but treat them as people, knowing that they can be uh, changed in a way. You know. Anyway, people are emotional. You hit them with the right type of attitude or words or scripture, and they'll melt. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was this way. You know, that's what I mean by some people you think are just problems, but they actually just people. So look at those moments where you're being blamed or attacked or persecuted or doubted, disregarded as an opportunity for you to grow, an opportunity for you to see what's within you and what the Lord is creating you into. An opportunity to call on the Lord. All right. Go to Luke 9 and 23. Luke 9 and 23, it says, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. So it ain't just going out and teaching every day, but what it means is being persecuted and taking up your cross daily, dealing with the wiles of the devil, the drama of this world, facing wickedness daily on a daily basis. That's part of bearing your cross. Is to choose the spirit over the flesh in every situation that you can. All right, so we got to take up our cross daily and follow the Lord. This is how we resist the devil. All right, so go here, Romans 12 and 2. This is a quick lesson. Romans 12 and 2. It says, and be not conformed to this world, right? Because this world will try to conform you to it in a lot of ways, other than envy. You know, they, of course, seeing all these celebrities and the way this world is, they try to bait you into it. Um, but also, there's another form of um, what's the word? Envy, or try to get you to imitate, reenact. You know, somebody come up and yell at you, you yell right back at them. They calling you all kind of words, you calling them all kind of words. It's changing your character to be like them, conforming you to this world. So the Lord said, what? Be not conformed to this world in any kind of way. And we have to learn to, in those moments, breathe and see the emotions, or learn to examine what you're feeling. So you can see the flesh or the those emotions conjuring up within you. Just like you see the clouds going by. You begin to separate yourself from it. Breathe. Right? And it gives you a split second to make a choice to choose what the spirit is leading you to do versus what your carnal flesh is desiring. So, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We're being renewed day by day, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. And we're here to prove it, right? That's the resistance. We are the resistance, here to resist the devil and teach others to do so. All right, so what was that? James 4 and 10. Did I already read that? Yeah, right. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He shall lift you up. That's right. I already read that though. Go to Galatians 5 and 16. It's Galatians 5 and 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit. So if it was Star Wars, he'd be saying, walk with the Force, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You see, that's resisting the devil. Resisting the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. That's a constant battle. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. That's a constant wrestling and battle. That, if we say resistance, all right, that's a daily struggle. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these. All right, these are the things we got to resist: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, right, being conformed to the world, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such the like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, right? Because they didn't resist those things, all right? So, you could look at that as the winds, or the what would it be called, man? If we're the fruitful trees, the damaging environment would be all these things that were just listed, and the tree has to resist that. So it has to be what, planted close to the waters, strong foundation. All right. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, and faith. So these are the things that we should bear, that we should show. You squeeze the lemon gonna come out. You squeeze the spirit, the person has the spirit in them, the spirit gonna come out, through that affliction, persecution, the injury, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are in Yahweh, they that are Yahweh Shais have crucified the flesh. We cutting off the flesh with the affections and lust. If we live in the spirit, let us walk in the spirit on a daily basis, man. See? All right. So let us not be desirous of vain glory. provoking one another, envying one another. And that's what they were doing at that time amongst the Galatians. A lot of them were being egotistical and provoking each other and being envious of each other. But in these times, these words are a light to our path. So let us not be desirous of vainglory. All right. Go to Ephesians 6 and 10. I'm gonna cut this damn thing off. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up with this one. This is Ephesians 6 and 10. This finally, here's the end, right? Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. All right, be strong in the spirit of the Lord. So we don't have to run and flee from every situation. We can stand there and show up every day, but show up with that spirit on you. Show up with that spirit within you. Show up being led by the spirit and not by our own will and thoughts and anger or get back or vengeance or whatever. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, not in your own strength, like Jacob was trying to show to the angel when he was wrestling with the angel, by clinging to him. But he had to humble himself and call and ask for the blessing. All right. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Okay, so that's resistance. To be able to stand against it. The Lord put you in the gap. Next thing you know, you show up to the job and people like, who is this dude? You know, you show up to the situation to where you get tested in a lustful situation and you resist it. And the woman like, hold up, what's wrong with him? The spirit that's on you. All right, causing you to resist it. So we have to resist the wiles of the devil, the deceit, the craft, trickery, cunning arts. And this is all to build us up for that day, that hour of temptation. Trickery, lying in wait, the method that's used against you. Traveling over. All right, so that we may be able to resist the deceit of the devil, and the devil can show up in different forms. That's why I have that picture up. Show up in different forms, man, different faces, like that movie with Denzel, like time is on my side. Yes, it is. Or like the Matrix, where the Agent Smith, the dark side, whatever, would pop up in different people. Or the movie Star Wars, you had the Force, and then you had the dark side was trying to take over everybody. All right, so we have to be prepared, walking in the spirit. We already know to shine our light, but that light can also make you a target. So we have to fortify ourselves. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. See, it's not those people, it's not those individuals. They're just vessels. They're like a little tiny ass boat, and the demons just jump right on their ass and sail right to you. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, not against these people, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, the ones that have set up this whole system. Esau. All right. the spiritual demon Satan on the left hand side, manipulating a lot of these people. Again, spiritual wickedness in high places, basically, and ruling from high places. So we got to know that everywhere we go out here, it's a system that was created in wickedness. Schools, the jobs, the marriages today, the way they are, the household, everything is the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. So we see what they're doing with it, and the results of it. The pressure is driving a lot of people to go crazy or to respond carnally as they move towards their new world order. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. See that? We don't have to run. You can show up every day. But having done all to stand, meaning what? To study, to pray, to watch videos, to teach. All right. These are the things that help you to stand and to be able to withstand these evil times, man. All right. I'm gonna go to wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand or resist in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded with the truth, really talking about your mind, all right, protecting your vitals or your life source, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. All right. Above all, taking the shield of faith, therewith ye shall be able to quench or resist all the fiery darts of the wicked. So you have to take the shield of faith with you, man. And that's what's used in every situation in this carnal realm is faith. All right. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. So keeping salvation on your mind, on your la'ab, that'll help you get through your day. That'll help you walk away from that bad relationship. That'll help you not take money from somebody when you're down and out. Keep you from moving in haste, knowing that the kingdom is coming. All right. The sword and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. So picking up your sword, sharpening your sword, yielding the sword, getting to learn it to be able to battle. The sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. So carrying that with you. Praying always. So these are the things that get us closer to the Lord. This is the resistance. It said the first part of that scripture where it says, resist the devil and he shall flee. The first part it says is to submit yourselves unto Yahweh. We do that first. So we do so also by praying always with all prayer and supplication in the spirit of truth, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. All right, praying for the Akim as well. So you can't do that unless you're praying in the spirit. And the spirit of the Lord is the spirit of truth. So if they're praying in any other name, they're wasting their time. They're actually pissing the Lord off, getting him mad. But again, the purpose for this lesson is what? Be angry and sin not. Fight against lust, doubt. Here you go, James 4:7. Submit yourselves, therefore, to Yahweh. That's the first thing. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Might not flee from everybody, but he'll flee from you. You know, it says you know, um, the spirit of wickedness. Um, actually, I'll say that the spirit of wisdom shall flee deceit. So where there's no wisdom, there's nothing but darkness and deceit. All right. But where there's no deceit, and no devilish ways, and no wickedness, no darkness, there shall be light. The whole body is light and full of wisdom and faith. All right. So this is the resistance, man, to resist the devil and he will flee. Right. The situation might not change, but you might change in the situation. We're here to change the world, not be changed by the world. And then next thing you know, that situation will pass, and you'll be left with the lessons learned from it. So with that, I'm saying, shalom.